You just really know how to piss me off. Welcome back, guys, to Supercoach Masters. I'm Geordie, and I am Matt Zeeves.
No, I'm Matt Zeeves, and you're Geordie, and we're here to talk to you about head-to-heads.
Bont and Macrae.
Who do you think's who? I'm good. I'm Macrae.
I'm going to be talking on behalf of Bont, and you'll be talking on behalf of Macrae.
Yeah.
But we're not barracking for them, even though Matty wants to. I'm going to be doing non-biased stats versus stats, analytics versus analytics, to show you who's the best one to pick, if any, if both.
If all. All right, George, let's get right into it. I like this idea because a lot of people...
You asked, guys, you asked. I put a
for it.
poll up and you asked and you wanted to see some comparisons, and that's what we're going to do. I'll go first.
All right, just before we head off right now, Bont is in 24% of teams at this point right now. Right now, Bont, he's the fan favourite. He was the 6th most average midfielder last year. He averaged 119. No, that's his projected score. He actually averaged 116.1. Now, Macrae has averaged 115.2, and he's in 18%. 6% of people out there like Bont more than Macrae. Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
That's great. That's me kicking it off. Jules, you can take over right now.
I would love to, Jay. I'm going to take it with the price. Bont is $639,000.
Is that the most expensive he's ever been?
No.
Wow.
He's actually been 6'5" before. But I'm going to get into that, champ. You're just going to have to wait. I know you're just a bit keen
I like to interrupt you, Jules, and I want to know stats. When I want to know something, I'm just going to ask.
Let's go for it. So Bont is 27 this year. He's turning 28 in November.
Are you joking?
No.
Bont's getting old.
He is. So
guess what?
This has got champ. Is this about?
Guess what? You know Macrae's at 28. Bont is only
but
a
he's
year
turning 29
after, like, pretty much when the finals start is late August.
Yeah.
So he's going to be playing all season as a 28-year-old young strapping
and he's
lad.
going to be playing all 27 as a 27-year-old.
Wow, only 1 year difference.
I know. Yeah. So
all right, just mark that. Only 1 year
can you
difference.
just fucking
stop
move
moving?
right, you stupid.
You got half the
arsehole.
table. Fucking hell.
Because my guns are so huge.
Nice top, by the way, anyway.
Thanks, man. You too.
All right, back to Bont.
All right, so obviously they both have the round 15 bye. They both have the last bye, which is not too bad.
Yeah.
It's not the worst bye. I like having people on the last bye. So in 2022, as Matty just said, he averaged 116.1, and he played 21 games. So his last 10 game average, this is not including finals, is 122.
Bont dominated the last 10 games.
122.
On the other side, Macrae bombed. Not bombed, but just didn't do as well as Macrae's averages was normally doing. So Bont clearly was smashing it and helping the doggies get to the finals, where Macrae was veering off to the wings and not getting those 35-plus touches that we all love to see as a captain choice. Let's keep going.
Yep. And so a lot of people are jumping on Bont because they're seeing his last recent form, 10 games, averaging 122, which is actually, it's at least, 6 or so points above what he's priced at. So people are liking that. He's in his prime year. He's going to, so that's the reasoning behind it. Now, This is interesting for me, champ, because I mentioned before, this is not his highest price because in 2021, year before last, he averaged 119.7.
The COVID year?
Nope. So 2021.
Oh yes, that's
119.7 and 22 games. So every time someone's playing 22 games, that's great. I know Bont and Macrae are pretty good at playing games, and that's what we want in a premium, guys. That's what we want. Now, the year before that, in the COVID year, he averaged exactly the same as last year. So exactly the same. So he averaged 116.1 and played all games.
So should he be declining this year then?
Based on what?
Based on the fact that Macrae turned 27 last year and he declined.
But everyone doesn't decline at the exact same age.
Okay. Well,
that
was all right. Okay. All right. I think you know what I'm getting at, but all right. Anyway, keep going.
Okay. So my additional information regarding Bont, other than that. So obviously he got 129 in finals. He scored 129, which doesn't count to his average. I think Macrae scored
pretty good as well.
129 or 128 as well. So there's not much difference there. But obviously we've got Dunkley and Hunter leaving the club. Now, initially I thought that was a good thing, but now I'm thinking it's a bad thing.
Why?
Let me tell you why. I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to get into all that right away. So, in 2022, Dunkley's average CBA was only 50%. So he only got 50% of CBAs, which was actually the 8th highest for the Dogs. Right. So it wasn't that long. So he played a lot more forward than
Dunkley did.
And then Hunter had no CBAs. So from what I'm seeing on that is there's going to be more wing position open from Hunter's loss, and there might be more forward. So there's nothing to say that they're going to play Bont more midfield and Macrae more midfield. So Bont could easily be sent more forward to cover Dunkley's role, and Macrae could also go more wing to cover that Hunter. But obviously there's other chess moves they can move with, Bailey Smiths and whatever or not, but this is something to consider, guys.
I agree in a sense. Like, I still think Western Bulldogs, they've still got Bailey, other than these two classy premiums that we all want to debate about. And
Libba's just going to be in
Libba. They've, Libba, Bailey Smith. Like, Trul's already back on the track. I couldn't believe it.
Well, the thing is, Liberatore can only really effectively play as a midfielder. Macrae can play wing well. Bont can play forward well. But so you'd think Libba's going to be... But I've got some alarming stats for you, Chant, that you probably don't know about. So I'm going to read them to you.
Oh, George, tell me about these lines.
Now, 2022, right? The year that just passed. Yep. Bont only had 58% of CBAs in 2022. That's really low. Macrae had 64% of CBAs, which is also very low. Now, compared to that, they both scored a lot higher last year, right? Last year, 2021, Bont had 73% CBAs. So that's a massive drop-off. He had like a 15% drop-off in CBAs last year. Macrae had 77%
so they both
CBAs. So they both, and Macrae dropped 13% as well. So Macrae was the number 1 CBA getter in Western Bulldogs in 2021, and Bont was number 2. So it looks like they both had a big drop in CBAs.
It just tells me that it's obviously where they get played, to be honest, because me looking at Macrae's stats, like. So first of all, to cover the injury aspect of Macrae. Macrae has missed 3 games in the last 6 years of football.
Yep.
Macrae has not missed a game in 4 years. 4 years Macrae has not missed a game.
That's what we want when we pick premium.
Macrae has been top 5 in Supercoach in the midfield 4 out of the last 5 years. And he dropped off last year based probably on these stats, to be honest.
And in 2020, Chad, their CBAs were up there again. Bont was number 1 in the Bulldogs in 2020, 77% CBAs.
What did he average that day?
He averaged 116.1.
Okay, still.
And Macrae,
that's exactly what he's.
But he's 2 years older. You think there would be a bit of an uptake since then, but there hasn't been because of his declining CBAs. Macrae had 74% CBAs. He was number 2 in the Bulldogs that year. So I reckon if they're getting 70% CBAs, they're going to score well. But if they, like last year, they 58% for Bont, 64% for Macrae. It took an effect. Even though Bont's lowest number last year was 88, that's his absolute lowest and his highest was 181.
That's very good.
So
very good from Bont.
My predicted range for Bont can fall between this year is 117 to 126.
Based on
all those stats. Obviously, it's going to depend how much CBAs he's getting.
Well, he's never got that before. So he's
which part?
Well, the 116 to the 120.
Well, he's averaged 119 before.
He has, okay.
So, and then he averaged 122 the last 10 games of the season. Okay. So I'm thinking he's going to average 122.
Okay.
And I think he can get anywhere between 117 and 126.
Yeah. Well, for me, George, Bont and Macrae are literally a year apart. I think based on those stats that I read out to you regarding how many years that Macrae has been in the top 5, possibly top 3 in some of those years, has not missed a beat, very consistent. He's been a captain choice for years on end.
Absolutely.
I think last year was one of his down years. I like the point you made regarding, even Macrae on the wings and on that, he still accumulates the footy. And to average the exact same, like he averaged 115 to Bont's 116, 1 point difference. You're saying that Hunter and Dunks, like I feel Macrae is a natural more midfielder. I think that BONTEMPELLI can win games for the Bulldogs, not Supercoach necessary, but can still kick some goals. I actually got Macrae is going to be back to the normal self that he is. given that he's played in the right role, and even Bont being played in that right role, the same as Macrae, even spread of midfield times. Over those years where they have been evenly matched in 74% of mid-time or centre bounces, Macrae still pulverised, pulverised more than what Bont did in those centre bounce attendances. So based on me, I think Macrae is predicted average to be 118 to 124.
Yep.
I think he's probably going to get 121.
Okay.
He'll pick up again. Bont, I feel he's going to be going for 110 to 116.
That's a drop. That's
Not
the lowest in 3 or 4 years.
No, that's for me to say it's a drop. If he's going to drop, it's going to be maybe 6 points a game at his lowest. So I've got him from 110 to 116, probably averaging in the middle, 113. That's me for Bont. I feel they still need him in the forward line. I don't think he is a midfielder only, because Bont has proven time and time again that he can kick goals off and win games off his own boot, where I don't think you can put Macrae up in the forward flank. And
no, you can't. But you can chuck him on a wing for sure.
You can chuck him on a wing for sure, but if Bont's in the forward, Macrae's on the wing, you've got Libba, Bailey, Smith,
Trelaw,
who's been playing in the back line. Like Caleb Daniel been playing in the back line, Trelaw been playing
Oscar
forward
Baker.
back. There's all these other players. If Bulldogs are serious about winning a flag, they're not going to be doing what Geordie just rambled on.
Well, the thing is, Matty Gazeebs, the thing that worries me is this is the first time Macrae's CBAs have been so low, and it's the same for Bonts. These have been really. These are what worries me, guys. And
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did you find out how much CBAs Dunkley did last year?
Yeah.
How much?
50%.
So that's got to have to fill a void, and I think you'll be putting your best mid, because Dunkley was one of their best mid, probably is the second best midfielder in Brisbane now. So you're filling a void. I don't think you're gonna, if you just scrape through finals and just made it because Collingwood beat Carlton.
But maybe it's just a really bad coaching move and that they're going to persist with, because they didn't change it up in the finals.
This is right. We're just assuming now.
But so this is the thing, guys. We're going to have to watch pre-season to see if any of these roles are changed. For me, for my predicted average for Macrae is anywhere between 115 and 128.
That's a big range.
I know, but that's the thing. If he's played in the right position, he can get 128. But if he's not, he can get 115. And I don't think he's going to get lower than 115.
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because I told you, when I want to know something, you have to answer me right now.
Go for it.
I'm thinking about it, I can't hold it.
I even told you my Macrae's predicted to finish
What's
average.
What's predicted finish average?
120.
120. Geordie.
So I'm going to redo my midfield rankings now that I've went an in-depth analysis of all the CBAs.
Oh no, you did not even have Macrae in your top 12.
I believed he was declining because of age, but it looks like it's actually declining because of CBA attendances. So I'm going to have to relook at that, because I don't think his CBA is going to get lower than 64%.
No, I don't think so either. And like you said, to have Dunkley and Hunter, not that Hunter, did Hunter even get a lot of games?
No, he didn't get any CBAs. So
no, that's fine. But like McLean's coming back, and I can see him going on the wing. I don't see him going in the centre bounce. because he's pretty quick, McLean. I can see him going.
I think when he had that good year in Supercoach, when he averaged above 90, he was in the guts.
Yeah,
but he can be played in the wing as well.
Just based on the CBAs with Bont and Macrae, obviously they've played positions where Macrae still did very well. Question that I wanted to ask you when I rudely interrupted you. I'm not rude. I don't give a fuck. What I'm saying is, they can potentially both be in your final team.
They could.
And would you have it? If you saw Bont and Macrae in your final team, would you be disappointed?
No, I think they got...
Would you think that it could be smart to even play them both?
I think we need to see some real proof in the pud with...
Is one of them already locked in?
No.
No, okay.
No, is one of them locked in for you?
I've been playing around with Macrae.
Because the thing is... I don't think so. Bont had 58% centre bounce attendances. Now, to put that in perspective, 2021 he had 73 and 77. That is a huge drop. I can't see it getting lower than that, though. I can't see him playing less than 58% CBAs.
I just argue the fact that it could, because...
But that's really low.
I know it's low, But he won games. Like, he got 180 points because he kicked so many goals and won the game for the like.
But he done so many good things in the midfield as well that won games.
They need him, yes.
Maybe they can play them both.
They need him
Maybe
both.
Can't we all get along?
I hope we get him in round 6 in the forward line, to be honest, and then I would love that, but probably not for his average. But we know we're just playing for 30% in the forward line, and
then we're just hoping. But now, what the analytics and what all the percentages are telling us is that is 22 a sign of what's to come for the Bulldogs' plan, as in playing Macrae 64 and Bont 58% in CBAs in the mid. It's been completely off because it's always been Bont's been number 2 and Macrae's been number 1 in 2021, and in 2022 it's been Bont number 1 and Macrae number 2, and now they're just going for more of an even spread now. So we're really going to have to watch that because I can't feel any confidence picking either of those guys.
I just feel, look, it makes sense in what you're saying, but Dunkley is out, and if that's 50% of a player that tackles gets the ball contested, if you were to say what player does tackles, contested ball and possessions, you would say Bont and Macrae is going to fill that. Even if they get 25% each of that, centre of bounce tendencies.
But that's huge. That's huge saying that they're going to get that. But because there are people like McLean that they're going to want to try. There's some new players that they're going to want to try out there.
We're just
Riley West is going to get a couple.
We're assuming that again, but being your best number 1, 2 hit.
But they didn't do that last year, and they were right on the cusp of not making finals, and they still went with this strategy.
Dunkley had his best career ever last year.
But he didn't play midfield. So that's why I reckon everyone should be getting Dunkley, because he only got 50% CBAs, and at the Lions, he could very well be the number 1 scorer.
Oh yeah,
he could be.
Like if he's getting 50% a game, well look, that's another subject. Like I don't think there's no one that you compare Dunkley to, as in we're doing a Macrae versus Bont type thing. Dunkley is a full player, and whoever he's matching up against, he's going to smash.
Oh, absolutely.
If he gets even 60%.
Dunkley needs to be had. But yeah, as for this, guys, you've heard it here. What's your assessment? Because it looks like this could have been the bleep in the kind of the system, in the data, because it's the only one-off kind of thing that it's showing. But at the same time, they didn't change it up when it came to finals. They kept on persisting with Macrae 64, Bont 58.
And Dunkley 50.
Yeah.
And Dunkley's now not there. That's my challenging point, that I think Bont and Macrae.
But Dunkley didn't have many. 50% of CBAs is just his percentage of when he played.
Played in there, yeah.
Yeah, so it's marginal. And I think there's a lot of people, because they're going to want to get more time in the midfield to Smith and,
Bailey Smith and Libbo,
I know what you hear that Caleb Daniels training with the midfielders now.
All I'm saying is, like, if you've got a footy team and you know who your best midfielders are, you're going to play them in the midfield.
Tell that to the Bulldogs, because they didn't do it last year.
They had so many, and
they weren't tanking. They weren't right mid-table.
They still have so many good midfielders.
Mm-hmm. I know they do, but for me, if what's his old Bevo comes out and says, look, this year we're going to try something different, or we're going to play Bont or mid, or we're going to play Macrae back where he's in his prime position mid, you'd get it, both of them.
I think, based on prediction, your magic crystal ball, I can see Bevo, if that's to ever happen, I could see Bevo saying, Bont, we need you in the forward line more than Macrae, we need you more on the wing.
But they did get Lob, and he's a big, tall marking thing like Bont was. So that could just be like, okay, we don't need you. We've got Lob up the forward now. We got him with the astronaut.
Bont is like Dusty around goals. Like he kicks, he snaps, he's contested.
I know, but they did get a big player in that they might not need a big fucking tall lumbering Bont in there.
Who they have up there? Norton and who else? There was someone else that they.
Well, they got Lob.
Now they got Lob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's still another 4 players in the forward line.
Well, we've got Bruce. They're putting him down back now.
Okay, so that's still 2 players in the forward line.
Champ, I don't know their small pocket forwards, but
Macrae definitely helped out. Who else? Johannesen, he was playing in there too.
I don't think I even saw him in one of the Bulldogs predicted best 22s. But
Johannesen,
yeah,
poor guy.
Poor guy. Yes.
Let me just read off a couple of forward line players, and you tell me. It's not even working. Anyway, you're probably right, George. I can't name off the top of my head. You got Rory Lobb, Aaron Norton, which we know that who else is going to be filling in the blanks in the forward line.
Well, I know there's what's his name? That one that everyone hates.
What's his name?
The blonde one.
There's Riley West, the blonde one. Who's the blonde one?
The blonde.
Waitman.
Yeah, Cody.
Yeah, okay.
So Cody's there.
He's like a small crumbing player. Doesn't even go up.
He does go up for marks.
Oh yeah.
My word, he goes up for marks.
Right.
He actually gets all his goals from going up by marks.
Yeah, that's also true. I've been scrolling down a long time to see. So
they don't have,
Johannesson and then Waitman. Yeah, we said it. So there's 4, and we're already in the 2.
And so they don't want to. It feels like Vandermeer does their pressure acts and stuff down there, but
Vandermeer's only played 9 games. So this is Buckley.
So it looks like they don't need another tall person down there, and Bont is fucking massive.
No, what I'm saying is, not that they need players to play in the forward line because they don't have any. Okay. They have who do they have? We just read about. We had 4 players. We still can't name another 2.
They play Jamara, Ugelhagen.
Okay, that's 5. And then this guy played. Who's this? I didn't
McNeil. Remember McNeil was 102k.
No. Sam Darcy's playing in the back line.
Anyway,
I still think that there's room for Bont in the forward line.
There could be, but I'm just saying it's a very tall forward line if you add Bont as well. But I'm not saying it's not going to happen because he got 58% of the CBAs last year, and you imagine that the only other party
obviously he was playing in the forward line 37% of the time.
That's not good math, but
well, it has to be for him to be a forward.
32%.
37.
42%.
Well, maybe in the first 6 games or wherever he got in the forward line or the first 12 games, he was.
But that's the thing. Maybe who knows? We've got to watch what Bevo does.
We've got to watch what Bevo does, but like with Bevo, they play everyone everywhere, and that's the scary thing. I've never seen.
But they only done that last year because 70 and higher % into the CBAs is more than enough for Bont, and it's more than enough for me to pick Macrae. So easy. Right now, the stats say that it happens more often than not. They're in the high 70s. They're both getting games.
Oh yeah.
And last year was 58%.
All right, final verdict, George.
Final verdict's a wait and see, I think, because if I can't, because Macrae and Bont are going to both be great picks. If Macrae's only put in the midfield and Bont's put forward, Macrae's going to be a great pick. If Bont's put in the midfield and Macrae's on a wing, Bont's going to be a good pick.
Okay. So look, given what Geordie just said, they have been in their lowest. So this is my final verdict. Mm-hmm. So they finished 6th and 7th in the midfield average of Supercoach. And they've only played how much % of midfield?
58% for Bont, 64% for Macrae. CBAs, that is.
So this just proves how fucking great these guys
are. They are, yeah. And I don't see either of their CBAs getting lower.
And 24% of people in Supercoach have got Bont, and 18% have got Macrae. I think they can only get better. I think they will get better. I just don't think those CBAs can get lower because for Bont, 58%. That's way too low. And like we said, so 58% and the 64% of centre bounce attendances, for them to still be in the top 10 of the most average midfielders is still they're ahead of Petrarca and Merritt and Brayshaw and Cripps and Walsh and Pack, who are like 80% in the midfield.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Some of those. We'll get to some other heads.
I'm just saying these guys have averaged more than Petrarca, Merritt, Brayshaw, Hewitt, Cripps, Walsh, Parrish, and these guys are only midfielders and have probably had 80 or 75+%. So with Dunkley out for me, there's 50% of Dunkley's time that needs to be filled, and I think common sense says that Bont and Macrae should take that void and average 120 each. Mm-hmm. So that's my final verdict, George.
Yep. Well, that's for the last game in the finals when they were being dead serious. Macrae had 68% and Bont had 64%. So it was a big uptick when they were being serious. But there's no trend to say that Bont had more kind of CBAs in the last 10 games. It looked like he had slightly more.
It looks like Liberatore is a sole midfielder, like 71, 79, 76%.
Yeah, but he wasn't even the one that had the most because Liberatore's one, he was really low at the start of the year, which I don't think they're ever going to have 4% CBAs for Liber, 39, 28.
But that's when he got transferred into as a DP forward.
Then he wasn't working as a forward, and then he started playing.
Only mid.
Exactly. So there you have it, guys.
There you have it.
You got all the stats in front here. We're giving you all the thing. If you need anything else, you just say, Jordan, do my team for me.
Yeah.
And I'll do your team for you because we've given you everything else.
Ask for me, it's okay. What do you guys think? Bont or Macrae?
I think it's Bont or Macrae. You can pick either one.
Bont
it's not going to matter.
Macrae. Or option C. Bont and Macrae.
Or option D, neither. Until I know what's happening.
Until we know what's happening.
because there are plenty of other midfielders that are screaming to come to my team.
Let's face it, champions. We want to make the best fucking team before we've got 37 days left before round 1 even starts.
Probably 35 or 33.
Whatever it is. Okay, yeah, all right. When we 33 days. Whenever we release this, it's about 30 plus days.
That's exciting.
That is fucking exciting.
Pre-season, and I better see Bont and Macrae lining. If Bont and Macrae are lining up in the CBA,
what practice game are you looking forward to the most?
Depends what team to name, but
what teams? Top 3 teams that you want to see play?
Well, I like watching Melbourne play. That's because I love watching Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I like watching the Doggies, even though Dunkley's not there. And I want to see Port Adelaide. I really want to see Port Adelaide. Rosie, Vaughan Francis, Butters, the boys.
Francis. I thought I'd never say this, champ, but I actually want to see West Coast. West Coast. I want to see Sheeds. I want to see Yos.
I want to see how they actually fare against not a second side.
I want to see Gibneys and Chesters. I want to see these.
You're not going to be seeing much of Chester, I'll tell you.
All right, whatever. All right. Also, I would love to see Doggies.
Oscar Allen.
I want to see what obviously besides what we just spoke about, Bont and Macrae, but then we want to see Jones, we want to see Bruce, we want to see Oscar Bakers, we want to see, Toby McLean's coming back in and just making sure he's going to get us those 90s.
And English, I want to see English.
Yeah, and English too, and see what the other Darcy, Sam Darcy does with English in the ruck. So I reckon Bulldogs, West Coast, Port Adelaide. I'm just getting ready. It's so sore. You got anyway. All right.
Got the same thing.
Besides that, guys, let us know who you think. Bont and Macrae.
Bont and Macrae, or both, or none. Guys, what do you think so far? We've given you everything. Let us know. And like and subscribe if you're new here. For guys listening on Spotify, we love you just as much. And
that's all for us.
Catch you on the next one, guys. If you want to see another head-to-head player one, drop it in the comments and we'll happily oblige.
See yous.
See ya.